Hey Fish Fam, this is Nikachu, Merfolk Master, and today we've got the stocking stuffer for your stocking to go under the tree. We got Poorfolk in Modern for less than $100 if you are looking to get into the Modern format, if you want a semi-competitive deck to be grinding your FNM, to even be playing the queues online. I've got the Modern deck for you, Mono Blue Merfolk. So before we get into that deck tech, we're going to thank our sponsors, themanabase.com, your home base for everything Magic the Gathering. So, yeah, if you are looking to get into Modern on the cheap, you know, all the decks are very expensive out there. That, like, they range between $1,000 and $2,000, and you want an entry point into Modern, Merfolk is like the best option. All right, we've got a lot of the core cards. The most expensive cards for Merfolk are not that mandatory to the deck. If you want to play it at a competitive level, absolutely, you're going to need them. But, you know, we can live without Cavernous Souls. We can live without Aether Vial. We can live without the expensive cards. We've got the core cards still in the deck, and some of the best cards positioned in the format right now can be bought on the cheap. So let's get into the deck tech. You know what? Mutavault has spiked in price thanks to Pioneer, but that's okay. We've got Fairy Conclave. Also a creature land. For a blue and a generic, we can turn it into a 2/1 flyer, fly over our opponents. So even against Tron, if they wipe our board with Ugin, with Oblivion Stone, Fairy Conclave is going to survive to attack back for victory. We're playing with 23 lands, so that helps compensate for no Aether Vials, and 15 islands, those are free. And Castle Vantress, pretty cheap right now, so you can get Castle Vantress. It will help in the long games to help dig for the Merfolk that we need, filter away our bad draws. Castle Vantress is an excellent addition to the Modern Merfolk deck. So we've got a 1-drop, pretty good in Benthic Biomancer. Good 1-drop, can deal pressure on the battlefield very early on in the game, filter bad draws with the adaptability. We've got stock Merfolk, we've got Silvergill Adept to draw a card, we've got our Lords, Lord of Atlantis, Master of the Pearl Trident. If you're looking at this deck for the first time, if you're learning about Merfolk for the first time, we use these Island Walk Lords in combination with Spreading Seas. Lord of Atlantis and Master of the Pearl Trident give our creatures Island Walk, which means if our opponents have islands, our creatures are unblockable. Well, all other Merfolk get Island Walk. So, Spreading Seas gives our opponent an island, also can turn Tron lands into islands, which means they won't have Tron anymore. Also screws over 3-color decks that aren't playing blue. Spreading Seas is an absolute pain for them. So Spreading Seas gives us the islands to get Island Walk. We've got our 4th Lord in Mare Regery. So we have ways of getting like turn 4 kills, turn 1 Benthic Biomancer, turn 2 Lord of Atlantis, turn 3 Mare Regery, turn 4 Master of the Pearl Trident, they're dead. We've got our Flask creatures. Merfolk Trickster is an excellent creature in today's metagame because when Urza enters the battlefield, it creates a construct. Merfolk Trickster has Flash and says, when it enters the battlefield, target creature an opponent controls loses all abilities until end of turn. The construct token is its power and toughness is equal to the number of artifacts in play. So you just target the construct, it loses abilities, which means its power and toughness is equal to nothing, and it just dies on the spot. So Merfolk Trickster is good for that. Harbinger of the Tides is basically sort of our Brazen Borrower. It's our means of bouncing creatures. It's going to be good against Eldrazi Tron, great against Death Shadow, which is very popular right now. When a Harbinger of the Tides enters the battlefield, you can return target tapped creature an opponent controls back to their opponent's hand. So when our opponent plays Gurmag Angler, attacks us, flash in Harbinger, or even play it on our turn, bounce that Gurmag Angler back to their hand. They don't have a graveyard to redeploy it. Excellent value. Dismember. Dismember is probably the best card in the Merfolk deck right now. Very well positioned in the metagame. Kills Oko, kills Emery, kills Elk tokens. Sorry, kills Urza, kills Emery, kills Elk tokens made by Oko, kills Eldrazi, kills Death Shadow, kills Gurmag Angler. A lot of mid-range decks popping up. Tarmogoyf is coming back. Usually kills Tarmogoyf unless it's like incredibly big. So Dismember deals damage to us. Don't worry about that. We can take the life loss so long as we're dealing with their creature permanently. And we get to play with a hard counterspell, Deprive. As an additional cost to cast the spell, return a land you control back to your hand, counter target spell. We've got 2 more in the sideboard. So we can't afford Force of Negation, which is pretty stock in Merfolk right now. So we're going to play with Mystical Dispute, which is basically a mana leak for 3 mana. However, it will cost 2 less if it's targeting a blue spell. So basically a very cheap but very effective counter spell. What are we going to do against the graveyard decks? Well, Grafdigger's Cage originally was very expensive. Oh, since the last time I've made Poorfolk, Grafdigger's Cage has collapsed in price. We can afford Grafdigger's Cage right now. So we can play 4 of these. Creature cards in graveyards and libraries can enter the battlefield. So screw Dredge, screw Crab Vine. Those decks aren't allowed to completely roll us over. And just for good measure, we've got Tormod's Crypt here. Extra hate against those graveyard strategies. Now, what are we going to do against Ensnaring Bridge decks? Well, we got Repeal, return target non-land permanent with converted mana cost X to its owner's hand, and we draw a card. So I really like the look of Repeal, and it's very good against any deck playing with food tokens. So if your opponent plays like turn 1 Gilded Goose, we could dismember it, or we could pay 1 blue to return target non-land for 1 blue, we can bounce the food token and draw a card. It sets them back a lot, right? Like these new Urza Oko decks, they depend so much on curving out. If you slow them down by a turn, you can very easily catch up and then race them. Repeal is also good against Eldrazi because not only are they are packing Ensnaring Bridge in their artifact toolbox, but if they try to play Chalice on 2, like we don't have Aether Vial or Cavernous Souls to protect us against a Chalice on 2. However, Repeal for 1 mana can bounce Chalice of the Void back to our opponent's hand because Chalice of the Void's converted mana cost on the battlefield is 0. So for 1 blue, we can bounce it back to their hand and redeploy our creatures. So this is an excellent stocking stuffer for anybody you want to gift a modern deck for Christmas. So this is less than $100. This is a good time to buy into Modern Merfolk. This is the starting point. So with that, I want to say this is semi-competitive. I think this will do very well in queues. This will do very well at F&M. However, will not stand the heat of serious competitive play. You're going to have to make those upgrades over time. That being said, I'm going to throw myself into a league online with those other really good decks, and we'll see how well it performs. So we lost the die roll. Hand's actually quite a bit slow, but you know what? This deck is pretty slow anyway. We're going to keep it. Probably go turn 1 Fairy Conclave, turn 2 Silvergill Adept, play Master of the Pearl Trident, and hopefully by turn 4 start holding up Deprive. We are up against Classic Affinity, it looks like. Or maybe not. I don't know what we're up against. Looks like Classic Affinity with Spire of Industry, but nope. Some sort of Emery deck. Our opponent's going off already, but they have like Memnite and Karnside. What is going on here? What is going on here? So we'll start off with Fairy Conclave, pass. Our opponent can play artifacts from the graveyard. So far, things like Mishra's Bauble is going to earn our opponent an extra card a turn. Not thrilled about that, but you know, what are we going to do? This is not an ideal matchup very early on in the game. Interesting, they're going for the Memnite. Would you like to attack me? Oko. Oko's going to be difficult to beat. Our opponent doesn't have any islands yet. Alright, we're already being attacked. Well, I'm not going to... I'm not going to give up without a fight. So we're going to slow our opponent down by bouncing the Elk. Now, of course, our opponent could just make an Elk every single turn and attack. There, see, they made another one. Interesting they chose the Memnite, not the Springleaf Drum. Because Springleaf Drum is not a creature at all. Memnite is at least a 1/1. There's the Mox Opal that we bounced back to our opponent's hand. A second Oko, that seems like a bit of a waste. But maybe our opponent is extra excited to get their aggro on. And fortunately for us, our opponent's played an island. I think that is going to hurt our opponent because we're going to get our island walk. And Oko can turn another thing into an elk next turn. I'll take the damage. We can take a bit of damage. We can even take 9 next turn and then stabilize. Our opponent's running out of cards really quickly. Ooh, another lord. You know what? I'm not going to get too greedy. Unfortunately, I have to show a lord. Spreading Seas. That is very useless right now. Okay, let's attack Oko. Oh! I forgot to play my land drop for the turn. That's a bit of a pony move. That's too bad. Well, now my chances of winning have, like, just collapsed. It's a tough spot, but it's not that tough. I mean, now what do I do? Oh, interesting. They attack with the Emery. Okay, we can concede. Now the chances of winning have reduced to nothing. That's okay. They had a very fast start on the play. So what do we want to bring in against a deck like this? Definitely Repeal. This will definitely be very good. Do we want Grafdigger's Cage? It would prevent our opponent from... It can get hit by Oko, but it can also prevent our opponent from casting stuff from the graveyard with Emery. I think I'm going to pass on it. I'm going to bring in Mystical Dispute. Oh, do I? They've got Emery. Okay, they have Emery and Oko. And they might have Urza. And I think that'll be an upgrade from Deprive. We'll take out Spreading Seas because it looks like they are playing with islands. Probably Harbinger is not... No, Harbinger might be fine for stabilizing against... Maybe I do want turn 3 kills. Do I want Harbinger or not? Okay, I'm bringing in Repeal so we can take out a Harbinger. Harbinger is fine if our opponent has made an elk, attacked with it, we bounce it like we did. We saved ourselves some time, but we've got Repeal for that now. I sort of want Benthic Biomancer, so I go Biomancer, Lord, kill our opponent. I think that is valuable in this matchup to have a turn 4 kill. I think Deprive is valuable in this matchup, but I mean, I don't want to take out anything else. 26 creatures, yeah, and I'd rather just keep the rest of the threats here. Not the most beautiful hand, but it's okay. We might be able to repeal something on turn 1. Our opponent has mulligans. That might, even if I played the land that I wanted to, it still might have been a tough game because our opponent decided to attack with everything. And if I don't block, I go to 1, which means after I play my 2 lords next turn and I kill Oko, it might not have been enough because our opponent can just attack me for the win. So we do have some green in this deck. Okay, Gilded Goose, and so this is going to be this is like one of the main reasons of having Repeal in the deck. So we can like bounce this food token. That will slow them down. Oh, and we have Dismember. Land? Oh good, we got a land. So next turn we can play like Dismember on the Gilded Goose. Potentially. Or we're going to play Dismember on the Emery. Nothing particularly good in the graveyard. Springly. Choose target artifact card in your graveyards. Karn San Avuna is not an artifact. This is not an artifact. This is not an artifact. Oops. Okay, hold on. Oh, okay. I don't want to play Lord of Atlantis. Lord of Atlantis actually pumps up the Emery, so I got to be careful about that. I do have to be careful. Okay. I do have the option to just dismember this Emery, but I think I'm going to pass on it. My opponent doesn't actually get mana this turn. It's pretty delayed. Okay. So I don't think my opponent can keep this Oko. That's not going to happen. At the very least, I like bounce this Memnite, dismember the Gilded Goose next turn. That's very unusual, but sure. So what do I want to do about this? I could repeal the Memnite. I think I'm going to repeal the Memnite. Seems like the best thing to do. Draw land, that's fine. Keep drawing more of these repeals, which is good. Let's dismember this. Trying to think, do I want it? I don't really want to tap out with Regeria. I don't think there's a lot of value in that. I'm going to kill the Oko. So the only concern... Well, actually, the value to playing Rajiri is that I won't get destroyed by Engineered Explosives on 2. If my opponent is holding that in their hand. Okay, there's Karn the Great Creator. Not very good here. Like, we do have the repeal, so we've got the answer to anything. Oh, but we do, yeah, there's the Engineered Explosives that's going to come on too. Play Explosives, crack it. Well, maybe I'm in trouble. Maybe I'm in very serious trouble here. The problem is our opponent recycling this Emery over and over and over again. That's the real problem. So they play Explosives on 2, crack it, blows up. Not particularly. Well, how much mana do they have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Well, they could, in theory, get Lattice, but that still doesn't win. If they want to tap out for that, they could. No, they can't sacrifice this. How do I stop this stupid creature? Okay, I will start with this. Okay, so I could repeal. So what's going on in my head right now is I want to attack my opponent. That's what I want to do. That's what I want to do right now. And I think that is what I am going to do. I don't know if this is the best thing to do, but this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to lose a giant chunk of my board. It's interesting. Go for the Ornithopter. Okay, Explosives on 2. Okay. Oh, that was a good draw. Okay, that sucks. Now I'm in a lot. Okay, now I'm just dead. I'm just dead. Maybe just attacking Karn was the best thing to do. And now our opponent's going for Lattice, and we just have no way of beating it. Or is there a way? One, two, three, four, five. Is it until end of turn? Choose our artifact card. You may cast that card this turn. Alright. I'm not going to be thrilled with this. But, you know, we're probably dead. Our opponent is getting all the good draws. But that doesn't do anything right now, right? Like, I can kill the Karn. I mean, I don't need to activate it. I just need to attack. And our opponent targeted engineered explosives in order to... Like, they could have targeted Memnite, which could block. Then we untap, then we're in trouble. Oh, that's another deal. All right, that's a good line. Okay, now what do? I do nothing. All right, good game. All right, so that was round one. Well, we had some game. I don't know where I went wrong. Maybe it was dismembering the. Maybe I have to be more careful with my dismember. If I dismember the Emery. Well, it's hard to tell. I cannot do anything about the Karn the Great Creator getting in play. I'm not sure where I misstepped. I definitely went really hard on trying to make sure that I killed Oko, but it may not have been as necessary as I thought it was. But anyway, that was round one. Let's move on to round two. So we lost the die roll. Hand's pretty good, though, overall. Benthic Biomancer into Silvergill Adapt into Rajiri, potentially into another Silvergill Adapt Rajiri. Ooh, we're up maybe in the mirror. The mirror match. So fortunately, we have a bit of an aggro start, despite being on the draw against an ether vial. Let's try to make the best of this. It's powered up Merfolk versus powered down. The $1,000 version versus the not $1,000 version. Okay, so blocking in this matchup's not very good. What we can do is we can attack with Benthic Biomancer. If our opponent wants to block with Master of the Pearl Trident, we'll adapt it. Otherwise, we won't adapt it because we need to just keep putting creatures on the battlefield. So at the moment, I feel pretty far behind. However, if our opponent doesn't have a very threat-dense hand, then we might be in good shape. We do have a pretty threat-dense hand. That is useful. Our opponent plays Spreading Seas. That's good for us. So they're not using... That, like, gives us basically another turn. Our opponent attacks for 2. Oh, I could... Oh, no, I could block, but you know what? Maybe it's best that I don't. Ooh, this is interesting. I've got Merfolk Trickster here. That was an aggressive attack. It represents that they have a... No, but why would they have a Lord? Or maybe they have a Lord, they just want me to block. Alright. I don't know what they have. I don't know what's going on here. But I'm going to play Rajiri. Let's say they have Trickster. If they have Trickster, they can tap my Rajiri, eat my Benthic Biomancer. So let's just attack with Silvergill Adapt. If they have a Lord and they try to block, no good. Alright, they do nothing. That's good. It's good for us. Pass. They have nothing. Alright, they don't have anything. Okay, so like I said, if they have a very threat-light hand, we might have a chance here. We have a very good chance. Yeah. Sometimes you just have bad... You know, like our opponent could have, like, Force of Negation, a bunch of Spreading Seizes. Maybe their hand is clogged with Master of Waves or something, which would be bad for them because we've got a really good hand for that. It'd be really nice to have an untapped mana source next turn, because if I can play Rajiri and untap a mana source, then we can go like Silver Gillidapt, Trickster, play Trickster, hold up Deprive still. It would be phenomenal. And we can also make our opponent play a little bit more honest. If we've got a Rajiri in play, we can tap their lands. Not too bad. Not the greatest, but not too bad. So because I can't take really good advantage of Rajiri this turn, I'm just not going to play it. I'd rather just play Silver Gillidapt, untap a land, and hold up Merfolk Trickster, and then we can attack with maybe a few things. Our opponent is actually now on defense. I'm showing the Rajiri because I'm very unlikely to play it this turn. Ooh, Lord of Atlantis. That'll be good next turn. Let's attack. Thassa. Cannot block. Devotion not good enough. Need 5 devotion. Oh, there is devotion here. Okay, so in that case... So what do I do here? Yeah, I got swindled. Well, I mean, it's not the end of the world. I can play Trickster, dismember this. I can also dismember the Master of the Pearl Trident if I want. Somehow I feel like my opponent is holding up Deprive of their own. If they do, that's okay, I guess. So I'm going to untap a land. You got me. You got me. I did not see that coming. Honestly, did not see that coming. Does this really help me? If my opponent has, say, Deprive, then I still can't dismember anything. I might be better off just doing nothing. What happens if I target the Thassa? Is it just a 5/5 creature? Yeah, it just becomes a 5/5 creature. Okay, whatever. I think we're just gonna lose a Silver Gillidapt, to be honest. We're just going to pass. Next turn, play Rajiri and Lord of Atlantis and kill our opponent. That's the plan. That's the dream. But anyway, we wasted a good Merfolk Trickster that we could play on our opponent's turn to like at least tap down Thassa or something like that. Okay, if our opponent does have Deprive... Okay, do we have lethal? 4, 8, 11... 4, 8, 11, 14, we do. So if I have lethal, I would really like to draw out a counterspell here, if my opponent has one. We're talking Force Negation or Deprive. There we go, that's fine. So we're going to take 5. And with the Ether Vial on 3 and our opponent with only 1 land in play, I do believe that this is just going to be lethal. For good measure, let's just do this. Maybe the better thing was to tap the island. So to take away our opponent, like I guess they could still play, I don't know, maybe Dismember into with Force Negation backup because it's not their turn. I didn't calculate it though. Maybe it didn't work. Our opponent says they had 2 Lord of Atlantis in hand. Actually, looks like a pretty good hand, but you had to be more aggressive. It was well, I don't know. Yeah, maybe it wasn't that good. So what's going to be good here? So Spreading Seas is going to be pretty bad. Deprive is going to be pretty bad. Repeal is going to be actually decent. And actually Mystical Dispute is going to be okay. Just to spend 1 mana to counter something, that's pretty good. That's mana efficient. So Repeal will slow... Because we can repeal their Ether Vial. And that'll slow them down a lot. So we'll play with this. Dismember looks very painful, but it's fine. Yeah, this hand's okay. This hand's fine. We go Island, Benthic Biomancer, turn 2, Castle Vantress into probably Master of the Pearl Trident. Turn 3, Fairy Conclave into maybe Lord of Atlantis, pending their board state. So they have another Ether Vial. Oh yeah, this is exactly what we're just gonna go Biomancer, Lord, and then Lord of Atlantis. That's just gonna be the plan. Force our opponent to interact. Things like force. I mean, I don't know how many Force Negations my opponent's gonna be running here, but they're not. Our opponent has Lord of Atlantis again. Not good for them. So even with our opponent having Ether Vial, looks like they're behind. And we're curving out, which is nice. Oh, they have 1-drop? That's going to help them? Alright, Curse Catcher. That's going to help them. That 1 Curse Catcher is going to is a big deal, because now our opponent could go double Lord, hit us for quite a bit, even if they do play Lord of Atlantis, and then threaten to kill us next turn. But do they have the double Lord? Alright, they do have Lord of Atlantis. Yep, okay, we're going to take 5. So in theory, we could die next turn. Oh, we got Dismember. But they got Curse Catcher out, so I shouldn't pay any attention to this card. Just going to attack for 8. Hope they can't do anything. So if they have another Merfolk Trickster, this might be a problem, but as is, we are still threatening lethal by next turn, because we can attack for 4 here, and then next turn attack for 15, because we've got all these Lord of Atlantises. Oh, the Lord of Atlantises. So we'll play Fairy Conclave, because we don't have anything else to do with the mana. So they've got currently 6... Okay, what if they put 1 Lord in play? That's 4, 8... 14. They're short 1 damage. So they need like Harbinger of the Tides or Merfolk Trickster. They need those cards. Not attacking with their Lord of Atlantis. Sure. I think actually this is a good spot to attack with your Lord of Atlantis. Well, I actually do it. Maybe not. If they think they're going to win the game. Maybe not. And I just thinking, in this last turn... Oh, no, maybe it's not a big deal. I was thinking I could dismember, say, Lord of Atlantis. If they sacrifice the Curse Catcher, I pay 1. Yeah, that is a line. And if they don't sacrifice the Curse Catcher, then I just play a Castle Vantress and then actually play my Master of the Pearl Trident anyway. So, is there anything I could draw off the Silver Gill Adepts that I would want? The answer is no. We're just going to go for it here. Hopefully our opponent cannot interact. That's it. We'll pump up the Benthic Biomancer if we really need to. Oh, something's getting played. Another Lord of Atlantis. Why not? All the Lord of Atlantises. Good games. Well, you know, they're chaotic games. These the Merfolk Mirror. My hands were pretty good, given my opponent had like Ether Vial in both the games. So, I don't know what to say about this. The Budget Merfolk beat real Merfolk. But anyway, that was, but you know, it just shows you we got still the core cards, and the core cards are enough to win games. So that was round 2. Let's move on to round 3. So we lost the die roll again, but, well, whatever. Can't win all the die rolls. We don't have anything to do on turn 1 anyway, except a Fairy Conclave. Or are we up against like a super fast artifact deck again? So this is either Death Shadow or... So, Death Shadow, yay. Oh, it's good. It's I think it's Death Shadow. Urza Oko, nyeh. This hand is like, okay, I guess? Yeah, like, well, Harbinger of the Tides and Master of the Pearl Trident are good against Death Shadow. Spreading Seas is like, okay. Not the greatest card in the world. It can shut them down pending their hand. So if they've got like very few mana sources and they really need that black mana, Spreading Seas is going to shut them down. Like even though they have islands, Spreading Seas still affects Death Shadow players. And the fact that we have a slow hand is not a big deal against Death Shadow. It's okay. Take all your time to put a Gurmag Angler in play. They attack with it. We Harbinger it back to their hand. Beautiful. Opponent searching for the right land for their Thoughtseize or Inquisition. Yeah, Street Wraith. Hopefully this is going to be a good matchup for Budget Merfolk. Now the painful thing about Inquisition of Kozilek is if they are not afraid of these Spreading Seas, they will just take our creatures and then we will have basically nothing. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. Okay, oh, they're afraid of the Spreading Seas. Alright. Alright. Creatures live to see another day. Now the plan is just play Fairy Conclave pass. Draw another island, which, I don't know. I don't know if it's good or bad. At the very least, we can start attacking with Fairy Conclave at some point. So we are going to need mana for that. Opponent passes does nothing. I guess I'll play around Stubborn Denial this turn. If I play Spreading Seas and they have Stubborn Denial, that gives their Stubborn Denial value where I don't want it to. I'm not really mana screwing them if I play Spreading Seas right now. I'm drawing more Lords, that's good. Stubborn Denial is a counter spell, 1 mana. Counter target non-creature spell, unless I pay 1. Or it just hard counters it if they have I think it's a creature with power 4 or greater. Check out the blue. Beautiful new merch. My merch came in. The T-shirt is like, you know, merch quality, but the mug is pretty good. The mug is beautiful. Very happy about the mug. Okay, we're passing our turn to our opponent. They're gonna do something. They're gonna do nothing. I'm gonna take some more damage. They might be nervous. They might be thinking, you know, I want this red mana, but my opponent did not play their Spreading Seas. That's a problem. That is a problem. So, like, if they don't play a land here, that red mana source is in danger. Ooh, what the hell? We are up against more colors than I think. I like drawing Castle Vantress because now I really want this Spreading Seas line. Okay, so first let's attack for 2. And I want to play Spreading Seas this turn, holding up a mana for Stubborn Denial. But at the same time, I want to be able to have 4 lands by turn 4 to like play 2 cards at once. So let's go after the red mana. I don't want to go after a Nurturing Peat land because then they can just sacrifice it in response and counter the Spreading Seas. Okay, that's fine. We got more where that came from. Got more creatures. Character target spell with converted mana cost less than or equal to the number of cards in its controller's graveyard. So that's not too bad. That could have hit a creature. And frankly, this is not very valuable. So, in my opinion. So I think that was an okay trade. I'm fine with that. So what our opponent's telling us with our hand, they don't have a threat yet. Or maybe they're going to play it this turn. No. They better have Fatal Push or something, because I think this is very... I think they're getting a little too greedy here. If they've got a bunch of removal spells in hand, then just play your removal spells and wait. What are you in a rush for? What are you in a hurry for? Okay. Here comes Thoughtseize. Goodbye, Harbinger. Okay, so the Gurmag Angler plan online. I don't know if my opponent's confused as to what creature to play, or maybe to play an Inquisition or something. Okay, so it was Gurmag Angler. They just didn't know what cards they wanted to get rid of from their graveyard. Alright. So Gurmag Angler, at the very least, is going to require quite a few turns in order to beat us. Ooh. Alright, let's just put a bunch of lords on the battlefield. Make our opponent deal with them. They left Inquisition in the graveyard over Fatal Push. Why? Like, don't you want that for your Snapcaster Mage? I don't know, maybe they're not playing it. I guess this is just Grixis Shadow with Nurturing Peatland as a land, right? That's gotta be what this is. It's just gotta. Because there's no ally Horizon lands yet for, like, blue-red, blue-black. I just... No, but then why not play... Well, there's Fiery Islet, but maybe they don't need any more blue sources. They would rather have the black source. Okay. Bring it on, beefy fishy. Bring it on. Here's a Death Shadow. What are you going to do about this? Do you have a... No, there's no bolts in this deck anymore. So here's my dilemma. I don't kill my opponent this turn. I don't. Or sorry, if they have removal, which the odds are pretty high, I don't kill my opponent. And if I don't, then this Death Shadow and this Gurmag Angler might end up killing me. So let's say I attack with these two. They kill one of them. I get in for 3 damage. They go to 4. This thing goes to 9. Then they untap. The attack with both of these. I block with Benthic Biomancer. They Temur Battle Rage for 18. Minus... Yeah, that would kill me. So let us just play this and pass. And then maybe if I draw a land, I can attack with 2 Fairy Conclaves and everything else. If they don't have a removal spell here, I don't think I risk that much. Okay, looks like they don't have it. I don't think I risk that much. So what, they can Temur Battle Rage to 12, 17. So I have to probably have to block something with a Benthic Biomancer. Like block Gurmag Angler or something. Well, I don't know. Maybe if they... Do they have a fetch land? Fetch, shock, go to 9. Death Shadow gets pretty big. Okay, so now Death Shadow... Let's say you've got Temur Battle... Okay, so if you have Temur Battle Rage, and I have to make 2 blocks. If you have a removal spell, does that matter? I think I can just block. And the only thing that would kill me is, like, I don't know, Snapcaster Mage, drown in the lock, kill something. Because if they kill this thing, then they can block the other one. Because I can at least attack for... Well, I don't know how much I can actually attack for with these Fairy Conclaves. Maybe it's only going to be for 2 damage. If they have Temur Battle Rage, which I think they're strongly representing, so I block here. That's 16 minus 4 is 10. And then if I block here... Hold on, what if I just block here? Tino times 4 is 10. So I have to make 2 blocks. Too bad I didn't have a 5-power creature. So I don't die to Temur Battle Rage. I might die to 1 removal spell. So come on, 1 land. I need a land here. Oh, and they have a Mishra's Bauble. It's not good either. Forgot about the bauble. Okay, we got our land, so they can deal with 1 merfolk. It's not enough. They have to deal with both. Hopefully they did not draw a second removal spell. Or Snapcaster Mage. I think they had Team or Battle Rage. I'm not sure. I think they had Team or Battle Rage, though. Which means I did have lethal the turn before. But I'm not sure. Who knows? Maybe they had one removal spell. And now they still have one removal spell. But either way, I win the game. Alright, so how do we go to the sideboard? I don't mind having 2 deprives. Honestly, I think the deck is really good as is. I just might run it back. Is Mystical Dispute any good? Can counter Snapcaster Mage. Maybe it's not that good. I don't think there's enough blue spells to hit. Repeal is fine for bouncing our own creatures and bouncing our opponent's Death Shadow. How many of those do we want, though? Maybe we'll take out some Spreading Seasons for some repeals. I don't want to bring in Grafdigger's Cage for Snapcaster Mage. I don't think that has any use. And same thing with Tormod's Crypt. If you're going to sacrifice this to exile their graveyard, they still have a Snapcaster Mage on the battlefield and you lost out. The thing with Grafdigger's Cage is, again, they still can play their Snapcaster Mage as a creature, and this card doesn't do anything else. It doesn't prevent Gurmag Angler. And not to mention, if they really do need their Snapcaster Mage to flash something back from the graveyard, they can just Abrade or Kolaghan's Command it. So I think it's just a liability. Aside from Relic of Progenitus, you can crack it and get some value out of it. Okay, all that... Maybe we can bring in one more repeal. I'm going to take out one more land. Take out one land. So we have 22 lands. Can we go a little bit further? No, we'll stick with the 22 lands. Going down to 21 lands is fine. I think is good. I don't know how easy it is to flood out with Castle Vantress, though. Because Castle Vantress will allow us to keep, like, scrying for good stuff. Sand is A-okay. Our opponent Mulligan, that's going to help us a lot. Threat density for them goes down. Threat density for us goes up. Especially since we're on the draw. We're drawing an extra card, so this is going to be 6 cards versus 8 cards. It's a pretty big advantage against Death Shadow, and I was starting to think recently, should we be taking the draw against Death Shadow? It's like, it's a question we don't really ask ourselves because we already have a very good Death Shadow matchup. But I feel like I think the only games I lose against Death Shadow are the ones where I'm on the play and I mulligan to 5, and I'm at 5 cards, and my opponent starts at 8 cards. That's like the only way I can lose to Death Shadow. So why not mitigate that only risk by just taking the draw against Death Shadow? Anyway, you know, it's a strategy. Longtime viewers on this channel have seen that I've employed against like Mardu Pyromancer and Rock decks to take the draw against those sort of attrition-based decks. Here I don't do it because tempo matters a little bit. Oh, they are playing green. What is going on here? So we got Tarmogoyf in this deck? Yeah, I guess this is like a four-color version. 4-color Shadow. The Tarmogoyf that we never saw. Nurturing Peatland has a purpose. And I guess Spreading... Okay, well, I still rather not play with Spreading Seas, but I can totally see that Spreading Seas is more worthwhile. Maybe... Hey, maybe Tormod's Crypt is a little bit better than I thought because of that stupid Drown in the Lock card. I think that card, it's just easy to undermine. But Tormod's Crypt still is a pretty poopy card. Oh, now they're going for our Lord of Atlantis's. Ooh, this changes things. So we have turn 1 Benthic Biomancer. Let's go turn 1. Let's play it. We can play this Fairy Conclave on turn 3. Not a big deal. So now the Spreading Seas is eyeing this Overgrown Tomb. It's looking mighty delicious. They still have perfect information. Goodbye, Spreading Seas. Alright, so they are a little concerned. Concern went up. Alright. We don't have anything. It's a good thing that we're on the draw. Oh. It's nice to be Nikachu. Alright. Let's play Master of the Piltran and attack for 2. Just rip those lords right off the top of the deck. Our opponent's running out of cards. They have 2 cards left, 2 lands in play. We have 2 creatures in play. You better have 2 removal spells for those 2 creatures. As hard as they tried to get rid of the Island Walkers, you can't Thoughtseize what we draw off the top of our deck. Sorry. Just sorry. Actually, sorry, not sorry. So Death Shadow has arrived. That is going to be great. We can just bounce that Death Shadow and then probably attack back. So we're not going to bounce it right now. We're going to at least get hit for at least once by our opponent. Not to mention, yeah, so what I want them to do is attack us next turn. At end of turn, we repeal it back to their hand. And then it's going to be multiple turns before they can replay that shadow and then attack us. Something gonna die. Looks dismember. Thinking about paying some life. You be careful. You be careful. Oh, just fatal push. Yep. Thought Scour. Well, they got Once Upon a Time in this deck. This deck is going deep. Enjoy it while it's still legal. Okay, Death Shadow comes in. No blocks. Hopefully there's not another Death Shadow. Okay, then. So what to do? Well, we're still gonna bounce this thing. Anyway, we're just gonna have to hope to win the race. Simple as that. Oh, that is great. Sure, yeah, we'll dismember this thing right now. It's gonna be worth damage anyway. Play our Rajiri. Attack for 2. I know I'm facing off against a Death Shadow, but I still want to deal damage to my opponent. Don't be too afraid. Don't be too afraid. We can still put our opponent in a situation where they don't even want to attack us, because we'll just attack back for more. Well, 2 options. Activate Benthic Biomancer or attack with Fairy Conclave. I guess we can do both. Because if we just draw a land, I mean, that's fine. Then we just play the land. See? This is not a land that comes into play untapped. So I guess no. I do want to get this damage in. So I'm not going to play around like Team or Battle Rage or anything like that right now. I'm going to get in damage. Next turn, if we just draw like any Merfolk, tap this thing down. I mean, I guess there's a point where I guess they can put themselves down to 1. Then we oh no, no, they cannot put themselves. The largest this thing can get is a 12-12. Because it starts as a 13-13. If it's a 13-13, you're dead. You do have to be careful when you're attacking the Death Shadow player. Like, I don't... so the general Death Shadow strategy is if they don't have a Death Shadow on board, just attack them. Just attack, attack, attack. Don't be, like, waiting, thinking that you're, like, undermining their Death Shadow. Because if they don't have a Death Shadow in their hand, then you're completely wasting your time. Now, this is an odd... I mean, in general, when they do have a Death Shadow on the board, you do want to be careful. Yeah, so, like, we're just going to let this through. Do have a lot of blockers. Trickster! Trickster would be great here. Who cares? That's good. That's good enough. Let's go! I'm assuming they have one removal spell. Maybe they have 2 removal spells. I don't know. Let's just go. If they tap out this turn, I am going to repeal the Death Shadow because there's no point waiting till their turn. Assassin's Trophy. Alright, so this is basically over. Yes, okay, so we're going to want this to resolve first. Draw land. Hit for 4. Bounce the Death Shadow, because I have to anyway. And then they have to deal with our Fairy Conclave. They have to deal with the Fairy Conclave. So now, Shockland's offline. Fetches into Shocks are offline, so no more red mana this turn. They have, like, if they used up... Well, I mean, they can't replay their Death Shadow and Assassin's Trophy anyway, but, like, Assassin's Trophy... They need to deal with this Fairy Conclave. Abrupt Decay won't do it. I mean, maybe they have an answer. But that's okay. We still can play a Mirror Regery on our turn. Alright. They keep playing. Trickster? Not Trickster. This is a very good card, though. Well, I might as well go for this, actually. Okay, so if you have any removal at all, you can use it. So we're going to do the old Harbinger trick, where we tap our opponent's creature while Harbinger is being cast. Harbinger is going to enter the battlefield and bounce the Death Shadow. So I'm taking this line because if they have a removal spell, they have to use it on the Benthic Biomancer, and then we're going to have so many creatures next turn that, you know, replaying the Death Shadow and then using all the removal is just going to be impossible. Whereas on this, like, otherwise, I would just play attack with Fairy Conclave, play a Mirror Regery. They just kill the Conclave, and then I don't know, on their turn maybe they use a removal spell on Regery and then Benthic Biomancer and then they stabilize. But anyway, we won the match because I do believe that even in budget form, Merfolk in Modern has what it takes to take on the Death Shadow people. All right, so that was round 3. Let's move on to round 4. We won the die roll for a change. This sounds great. We can go Fairy Conclave into Lord, to Castle Vantress Lord, hold up Dismember. Eventually start attack with the Fairy Conclave. Sounds nice. We're going to make Fair Magic look good with our Budget Modern Merfolk deck. For $100! For the price of a Verdant Catacombs, you can buy this whole deck. Swamp. Alright, so we're up against maybe another Shadow. No, I guess not another Shadow. This is just literally Jund. If it were Shadow, they would be fetching Shocking immediately. Unless they know I'm on Merfolk and they're scared. They're scared! They are scared. Oh, plans have changed. Let's get that Silver Gill Adept in play. The islands may not be too bad. Eventually we're going to start activating this Castle Vantris. Maybe. Because I do have this Fairy Conclave in play. Doc Confidant. Well, I guess I just killed this thing. This is one of the only ways you can lose. Well, okay, I have another option. I could play the Master of the Pearl Trident and just let my opponent die to this thing. Because if I use my Dismember on Dark... I mean, usually, there's a lot of games where you just lose to Dark Confidant. Whatever. Okay, we're just going to take that line, I guess. But I don't have a good plan for Tarmogoyf now. I mean, I guess I can fly over. That's not too bad. Maybe we'll draw a Trickster. There's the Tarmogoyf. There's another Silvergill Adept. Attack. There is a slight option. My opponent's a little bit too far behind, I think, for me to bluff attack with the Silvergill Adept. But maybe that was an option. Scavenging Ooze, ooh, that sucks. So now the race gets even harder. Ooh, but that is good. Sort of. Then Ooze becomes a problem? Well, everything's a problem. There are 3 creatures in the graveyard, so Scavenging Ooze can get pretty big. Well, I don't know what's in my future, but it's at least I'm going to dismember something. Perhaps the Scavenging Ooze. Oh, that's a bit disappointing, but what am I going to do? Okay, this is interesting because my opponent did not eat... Oh no, they couldn't eat something last turn. It was impossible. So we have an opportunity to dismember this Scavenging Ooze, which potentially can get way bigger than this Tarmogoyf. Okay, we're still holding the balance. Still holding the balance. Still holding the balance. Alright, I guess we're going to play Silvergill Adept, show Rajiri. Hopefully draw a Merfolk, I guess, for the future when I play this Rajiri and tap something down. Annoying. Assassin's Trophy? Turn player discards a card. Okay. Goodbye to this. So what I really, really want is a Merfolk Trickster here. That would be very good against this Tarmogoyf. Cannot block. Just take whatever. Liliana the Veil. Still doesn't change the fact I need a Merfolk Trickster. Lord. I think my best line is actually pass and try to trade with this Tarmogoyf. But we're not in good shape. Our opponent has more cards than us. They're not playing lands. We must be in trouble. Like, we're facing lethal, so we have to block. If they have a removal spell and 2-for-1 us, then we cannot play around that. Come on, Trickster! Can't use Castle Vantress because it would tap me out. Alright, we're dead. Actually, I should... it doesn't matter. My opponent can take up Liliana the Veil to reveal what I have in my hand, so I'm not bluffing Trickster. Alright. So what do we want here? Probably not much. Maybe we bring in Repeal? Take out a land, bring in Repeal? I don't think I need to bring in very much. I mean, I really like the look of this deck. I don't mind having like 2 counterspells against something like Jund. Yeah, I like it. The only thing I didn't like is that I was forced to spend my Dismember on that Dark Confidant when I knew a Tarmogoyf was going to be a problem. I didn't have any like good way to attack through a Tarmogoyf. And our opponent had... I think our opponent had a very good hand. It was like a good balance of removal and creatures. They pretty much stopped at 4 lands. I do not mind spreading seizing this immediately to prevent Wrenn and 6. Plus this is a creature land anyway. I'm gonna I have Merfolk Trickster in hand, so I have the option to play Merfolk Trickster or play Deprive. So if they play, I don't know, Liliana the Veil, I'll counter it. If they play Wrenn and 6, I'll counter it. Alright, I'll just play this Merfolk Trickster at end of turn. So that I put something on the board. I did want to land. That will help me keep up this Deprive. I think I'm going to Deprive this. I would rather have a little bit of a board state on the battlefield. I played my land for the turn. And I think I might need the Lords anyway for stuff like Plague Engineer. It looks like this is going to be Collective Brutality eating up my Dismember. Did they gain life? Don't know exactly what happened from that exchange. Okay, this is not too bad. I'm going to sandbag this land in my hand just in case my opponent goes untap Kolaghan's Command, destroy my... Like, they could bolt this, Kolaghan's Command, one of my creatures make me discard a card. If they're choked on mana, this isn't going to be too bad. This is going to be good for us. They're starting to slow down on resources. You know what? This might have been a good spot to actually play Benthic Biomancer, attack for 2, pass. I exposed this to a removal spell, and then I could activate Benthic Biomancer and loot this island. It still puts a creature on the battlefield, but these 2 creatures are way worse. Bloodbraid Elf? Yep. Hopefully they find nothing. They find something. Well, we have a very healthy life total. In fact, they may not even attack here. But I will continue to attack. I will play this land now in order to try to cast the Silver Gill Adept if necessary. Our opponent was about to snap play something. Now they're like slowing down. Let's think about this for a second. Do you not have the mana for what you want to do? Where's another Bloodbraid Elf? You just want to thin your deck a little bit? Okay. Thin the deck. Scavenging Ooze. Oh, that is very good here. That's very disappointing to see for me. Sure, why not? Okay, so, well, hold on. If I draw a Lord, I get attack for 6, go to 14. I don't die. Okay, so I'm gonna... If I draw a Lord, I can race the Scavenging Ooze. That's gonna make gain a ton of life. Lord? Not a Lord. Can't even attack into the Scavenging. Scavenging Ooze is a beating! Scavenging Ooze is a beating. So okay, they can gain 1, 2, 4 life, go to 9. So I can attack for 2, put them down to 7. Then even if I draw a Lord, it's not good. That's too bad. Alright, so I don't know what I'm trying to draw here. But I can't race with the Fairy Conclave. So that's what we're doing. And pending, I don't know, I'll reconsider when they attack again if I want to block these Bloodbraid Elves or not. Oh, our opponent's top decks are way better than ours. I did make that slight error, though, exposing that Master of the Pearl Trident to removal. That was a pretty big mistake. We're now, like, super far behind. We're going to lose. This Wrenn and 6 will take over completely. It's worth at least a card a turn. Do they have a... They don't have a Horizon land. But anyway, the Scavenging Ooze is also a problem. Yeah, if they could find a removal spell, I can still race all of this, because the Fairy Conclave can just attack over. But anyway. Full power Jund versus... Oh, maybe we could take out one more land. No, I think I'm okay. I think I'm okay. We didn't lose based on attrition. We got tempoed out here. The Scavenging Ooze was just worth a lot of tempo in the end. They gained themselves like a lot of life. I think I could Fairy Conclave them out. If only that Bloodbraid Elf could find a removal spell or some other useless creature. Tarmogoyf or something. That's okay. We're playing on a budget. It's okay. We're just playing on a budget, and we're showing that, the deck still has a lot of play to it. So we're 2-2 so far after round 4. Let's move on to round 5. We lost the die roll. We have a very good hand. Potentially a turn 4 kill if our opponent doesn't do anything. Go 1-drop, Biomancer, Lord. So win or lose, our opponent says, good luck, I enjoy your videos. Well, thanks. So win or lose, I think this deck has already been quite a success from a budget standpoint. You're gonna get some fun out of it. If only there were friendly leagues still available, that would be good. There's still some really hard-hitting players in these leagues, and I feel like I'm still, competing with them. Still so it looks like we're up against Death and Taxes. This Deprive is losing a lot of value very quickly. But our hand is very good for Death and Taxes. It's just full of Lords. Essentially, that's all we want, or need. Unless it's Eldrazi and Taxes, then that's a problem. Thalia, making my deprive even worse. If it wasn't bad enough already. I guess Ghost Quarter can eat up my Castle Vantress. So I can play 2 Lords, or I can play the Rajiri. If I play the Rajiri first, I'm going to get some triggers off of the Rajiri to tap things down. Maybe we'll get triggers anyway. Our opponent can play Giver of Runes, but then that'll be a 2-for-1. That's okay. So the only thing I'm concerned about right now is more Path to Exiles. That could be a problem. They own an Arbiter, so they must be stuck on lands. Or I guess they don't want to vial that in. Be a poopy thing to vial in. Oh, this is very good. Because we can now play Rajiri and then play Harbinger. Tap something down, bounce something. Yeah, why not like put more pressure on our opponent? I'll tap bounce the Arbiter. For truth be told, I don't need to bounce it. Well, I might as well bounce it. If they violate another creature, then I'll look stupid. Attack for... Okay, what are you going to do? Okay, Arbiter comes back. Attack with everything. If they want to double block something, they take 8. They lose 2 creatures. They have no board presence at all. If they chump block, that's not good. If they don't block at all, that's not good. And we just pass. So they're at 8. We've got a bunch of creatures in play. We can still like loot with our Biomancer. They might be ready to Flicker Wisp though. Their Vial on 3 is always concerning. If I draw a Merfolk, though, I'll have the option to tap down Aether Vial with Mirror Rejury just to see, you know, what is gonna happen. What are you gonna do? What's happening? Oh, Thalia comes back. Okay. Opponent has multiple Thalias in hand. Okay, so let's loot with our Benthic Biomancer. Maybe I'll draw a Merfolk. Let's use our creature's abilities, why don't we? Hope you can all... Oh, that was a perfect draw. Dump this island. I think I'm just going to tap down the Thalia and make my opponent, like, chump block with whatever they have. Because, like, I can't stop whatever they play. So if they play Flicker Wisp, Blink, a Lord, block, something big, they're still in really bad shape. Yeah, like, none of this is good. So they can take a Lord off the battlefield. They have to block, like, Benthic Biomancer or Harbinger of the Tides. That's not good for them. It's like, this is the scariest card out of there that they could violin. So they get no value here. Go to 1. Yeah, that's it. Alright, so... I don't know if this version of Merfolk without Aether Vial is going to be advantaged, but our hand was certainly good. So what do we want? We definitely want repeal. Definitely don't want deprive. Do want repeal. Maybe I want a few more repeals. Spreading Seas is okay. Harbinger is like okay. Dismember is very good. Like, repealing their vial is really nice. That's going to set them back by quite a bit. My opponent says good luck again. Maybe I don't want too many repeals. I mean, I'm guessing they're going to side out some Thalias, but we don't have Ether Vial, so these spells are going to be expensive. Okay. That's going to be it. But I hope you can see the power and playability of Budget Merfolk. Look, $100 gets you this much. You can get this deck and stretch this far. And we were up against just like tons of tier 1 decks, right? We were just up against tons of tier 1 decks. I'm not in love with this hand, but we are going to keep it. I mean, it's got a lot of problems. We don't have any lords. It's got a lot of card advantage, but no lords. I think playing Silvergill Adept on turn 2 is worth more than playing a Benthic Biomancer on turn 1. Tectonic Edge. That will be useful against us. Okay, let's draw some cards. Alright, Castle Vantress. I'm hoping our opponent doesn't play Ghost Quarter. Well, they do. Blade Splicer. Actually, Repeal would be very good against Blade Splicer. No attacks. No problem. What to do? I'm sort of falling behind on the board. Dismember is delicious, but don't have great targets right now. I mean, maybe the Leonin Arbiter, so they don't Ghost Quarter me. I think I'd rather hit this Golem token, even though I'm pretty sure my opponent can start blinking this Blade Splicer by some way. Or maybe I'm just going to have to take a bunch of damage from this. Alright, let's get more information. Let's keep drawing cards. More information, please. Alright, so that helps. Alright, let's just keep playing creatures. I'll take a few hits from the Golem for a little while. I could dismember the Golem, but the problem is if my opponent plays Eldrazi Displacer, that seems like a problem too. I'm very welcome to chomp here. Not sure what the point of that was, but it's not legendary. And this thing has first strike. Well, now I could hit this thing with the Spreading Seas. Oh, the possibilities are endless. I still don't even really want to do that. Let's play more things. Okay. Now that encourages me to play the Spreading Seas. Yes, let's do that. We can start counterattacking soon. Destroy target non-basic land. Activate this ability only if an opponent controls 4 or more lands. Damn it! They can Tectonic Edge their own Ghost Quarter. So that's a line. Anyway, we're just going to have to pass the turn. I don't know why they're not attacking with the golem. I can't block the golem at all. If I triple blocked it, all my creatures would die. So playing a Lord of Atlantis isn't necessarily safe. We have Biomancer. I mean, I guess I'll play a Lord of Atlantis. But I'm not going to attack because, well, first off, they can Tectonic Edge the Ghost Quarter. Oh, maybe I can attack. Whoops! Okay, I should have attacked. Then if they Tectonic Edge their own Ghost Quarter, they basically 2-for-1 themselves, and then I could, like, Merfolk Trickster the Golem. That's fine, we can do that next turn. Oh, Giver of Runes. Giver of Runes. That's going to be a thing. Fairy Conclave is probably going to play a really big part in this game. Just for flying over my opponent. Okay, so I can freely attack with everything this turn. That's nice. At 2 mana, there's nothing that can disrupt me. Okay, instead of flying over with Fairy Conclave, I'm going to activate Benthic Biomancer. Maybe I'll draw a Lord. I do not. In that case, attack for a ton. And I'll play Fairy Conclave and hold up Trickster and Dismember. This game could have been a lot harder, though. My opponent should have been attacking with his Golem every turn. The next turn we can attack with both Fairy Conclaves if we need to. That's going to be an interesting turn. It's going to be an interesting turn next turn. I mean, maybe my opponent could still, if they had Flicker Wisp, maybe my opponent still stabilizes. But, well, one thing's for sure, our opponent was completely missing their lines. Let's go back to this board state. Here's a lesson for you. Just because you have cards that target your opponent, you should look for opportunities to target yourself. Tectonic Edge, you can target yourself. Destroy target non-basic land, including your own. Activate this ability only if an opponent controls 4 or more lands. So if I have 4 more lands, you can Tectonic Edge your own Ghost Quarter. I lose Island Walk, and then you're free to block my stuff. And I don't know what you have here, but I'm certain that you got something. You have something in store. So it probably isn't over. You don't have lands in your hand, because you would have played them. So you've just got pure gas. So this game definitely could have gone on for a little longer. What would I have drawn? Another Spreading Seas, that might have been it. So if they don't have, they certainly didn't have Flicker Wisp, so I definitely would have, I guess, Spreading Seas this, draw another card. Who knows what the last one was, but I probably would have won. I would have won anyway. Remember, you can target your own stuff, people. So we go 3-1. We go 3-1. Why is it still open? We go 3-1 with our budget version of Merfolk for $100 against competitive decks. We played against many Tier 1 decks today between Jund, Shadow, Oko. I think this, Urza Oko. I think this deck has a lot of game to it. So I really like the well-positioned. What helps this deck a lot is that Dismember is very well-positioned right now. It's cheap enough to buy. So this is the deck for you. If you want to get into Modern, you want to go to your local game store and beat people, this is the deck for you. And I hope you get into Merfolk. I hope you get into Modern through this, and I hope you can upgrade the deck over time through Merfolk. So let me know what you think. Let me know if you're going to buy this thing. Is this going to be your next stocking stuffer for Christmas? Are you going to gift somebody Modern Merfolk? Let me know in the comments section below. Anyway, we're going to thank our sponsor, themanabase.com. This has been Nikachu, Merfolk Master, playing Budget Merfolk in Modern.